Now, I want to tell you something. There are some DAX functions which are called iterators. Okay, iterators. You know the word called iteration, which means that something which can work on uh, like a loop, something which works in the circular direction. Iteration, repetition. You know, uh, all these functions have. If you see here, how do you recognize this is the iterator? Because they have some specific style. They all have x in the end, like some x, like count x, like average x, this one, like rank x, rank x. Okay, these are called iterators. So I want to cover these first today. Uh, so let's go here. I'll give you first of all the task. I mean, what is the challenge we have? You see, this is our data, guys. Now, you know that in this data, we have these item shipped and the cost and the sales. Basically, number of items we have shipped 9, cost is 107. The cost which we have mentioned here, it's, let's say, it is based on the one item. I mean, this is not the cost on the total items, but this is the cost, let's say, just to understand the concept. This is the cost per item, and this is the sales per item. Now, I have a question. If you want to go and calculate that, so we are talking about the iterators. Now, see, if I tell you that what is the cost of this on the 11th February, what is our total cost, including the 9 items? So you will say that 9 multiplied by 107, 9 multiplied by 2000, and you get the answer. Correct or not? Right? And for this, many of you initially will go and try to create a new column, like in Excel we do, and which you can do, of course. I mean, we can go ahead into the new column. And you know that here also we can create the column. We had discussed about this. In Power Query also you can do it. It's as far as addition of the column is concerned, at this point in time, we can use either Power Query or this calculated column also we can create here, right? This is not a measure, calculated column. So I can say that, okay, so let's create a new header and let's find out the total cost, overall cost. It is per item cost we know, and overall cost. Let's say you give a header and you then simply say items shipped multiplied by the cost. And let's press enter. And same way, you can create another header as well, isn't it? And now in the visual, we can simply go and pick this overall cost here. I can just go and say, let's say in this card, you know, I can just use this overall cost. I can drag and drop. 4 million is the total cost, right? Very easy. And it was a paintbrush. And same way, I mean, you can go and do the other calculations also. So please understand one thing. There is no problem in this. There's no problem in this. You can do that. You can create the extra column. But you know, data always costs us. You know this, isn't it? Now, why to unnecessarily create all these extra, the values, the column? Because as I said that, you may then have to create 4, 5, 10 extra other columns as well, by multiplying the sales with the item shape or by doing any other calculation. I don't know. Maybe let's say if I say sales minus cost, I want to check. Are you getting the point? This is a calculated column. We can do that. This is also part of DAX. I mean, what now you're doing is you're creating a DAX only, but we call this not DAX measure, but DAX calculated column. But you know, this is something which will take the memory with it is a part of your data, right? So if your data size is, let's say, maybe 1 MB, then this is definitely going to increase the size depending upon the how many number of rows you have and how many columns you have. So we have a way of doing it that let's do every calculation on the fly, and let's save the file of our BI. I mean, let's not unnecessarily burden the data. If we can manage with the measure, then why to do that, right? So that's why in our tags, you often you will hear from people who are very intelligent in BI, that avoid creating the calculated columns. Always use the tags as measure. But it does not mean you can't create this. I'll talk about the advantages also. I mean, what is the advantage of creating a calculated column over measure? So if it is there, then obviously it has some purpose. Otherwise, why would it be there in first place? But right now, I can achieve the same task. I can achieve the same task by using a iterator called SUMX. Iterator are the functions which work row by row. Row by row, they will do the calculation. That is why they have the X alphabet. So how are you going to do that? See, if I have to multiply them and then I have to count or I have to average, then I will use count X or average X. Functions are same. So I'll not talk about the other ones, but we will talk about the SUMX. Now, in the SUMX, how I can achieve this without the help of the calculated column? I don't need that. I will simply go in the new measure. And before I do that, let's create quickly underscore DAX5. So let's go to the home tab, go table, and here let's create. Sorry, what I'm doing? No. I'm so sorry. Just skip this. Not the new table. Enter database, that option. Yes. So I'll create this underscore DAX5. Okay. Let's load this. All right. So we are here. Let's go back here. Now see this. Let me click here. Click here. New measure. SUMX is sometimes a very powerful function, right? And we'll see it today. So let's say this is my question number 1 on SUMX. X. So let's write the SUMX because it is a sum. So obviously it will do the sum, right? That is the first thing. Very clear. Table and the expression. In the expression, you provide obviously the columns which you can multiply or which you can add, whatever you want to do. Okay, or even some other thing you can provide. And the table comes here. So basically what we say that the table is actually void data, as you know. It's very simple. And in the expression, see, returns the sum of an expression evaluated for each row in the table. I mean, here you will go and get the expression. Expression, what is our expression that we want to, so the number of items that we have shipped, that should be multiplied with the cost. This is what exactly we want to do, right? So I'm multiplying these two, and because this works for every row, right? So what it does, it's going to multiply all the rows, row 1, row 2, row 3, and it's going to finally then add their outputs. And for this, I don't need any separate calculated column. So this will save my data also from, being the, having a bigger size, isn't it? So I'll just press enter and let's see that. So now you see that SUMX actually is very simple concept. It can be used for such. See that we have 69 million data. Okay, 69 million. Okay, now let's see that why we are. This is item shipped with the cost. Okay, and what about this? So we have to cross verify. Is it something wrong? Let me first, because here I'm seeing 4 million. Okay, and this is 69 million. Okay, so what's wrong? Item shipped multiplied by overall cost. Okay. In the toy data, I'm very sorry. What we did is I multiplied the overall cost, which is a new column we have created. So basically we multiplied the 4 million with that. Okay. Let me type the cost again. Yeah, this is the one actually. It's a split center. Yeah, perfect. So now you see that I have the answer. So choice is yours, but we will always prefer this one on the fly. Why to unnecessarily create the extra column and hamper your the calculation? Isn't it? Right? Because you see, you must have noticed that whenever I press enter, the things take time. Because, and this is a very small data we are working. In your office, they may give you data which can have up to maybe, I don't know, maybe 80,000 rows, maybe double of that, maybe triple of that, who knows? Millions of rows can also be there, isn't it? So these things then are going to play a very, very important role. Okay. So this is your SUMX, right? So this way I can directly do the calculation on the page, and the calculation happens row by row, right? And same way, if I have to calculate the average, I can calculate the average also. Now, please understand. I mean, don't just think that this is only for this purpose. So if I just have to actually SUMX as a simple sum, for example, if I just want to use the SUMX or as a simple function, of course I can do that. But the point is, why will I do that? I have a subtle sum will prefer sum, or maybe I can prefer calculate as well. In the calculate also, I can use the sum, and I will not give any criteria in the second parameter of calculate. But when it comes to the totaling with no criteria, with no customizations, with no data manipulation, we always use the sum. But you still, can consider this. There's no challenge in that. There's no problem. I can just go and say deploy data. Now see, if I go and press scroll, I'm not putting the expression first of all. Okay. So this is expression I'm not using. I'm just trying to tell you what will happen, because right now you're just interested in, adding the data. So first of all, the thing is, what do you want to add in this table? What do you want to add in this table that you do not provide, right? So if let's enter, the function will give you the error that too few arguments were passed to the SUMX function. The minimum argument count for the function is 2. So when you see these errors, not here but anywhere, right, you should know what it says. Don't get panic. Okay. And this sort of things we see in the EV programming also, that when you have, let's say, if you are going to apply some function or a code, any syntax where you have 3-4 parameters, right, and you just forgot one thing, then you get to see these things. These are mandatory. So basically, it's very simple now. In the expression, I don't want any multiplication or subtraction. I don't want any addition or subtraction of 2 fields. I just want the sum. Okay, of which field, but so that field is, let's say, item shape. I'm just going to say item shape. Okay, this is item shape. Okay, so I'm just going to write the field name here. So you can mention the field name as well. You can mention the field name as well. If you don't want to do any calculation, you can simply mention the field as well. See this. This is 26K, right? Let me move this here actually. Yeah, 26,000. And we know this is correct. Yesterday also we had this item shape. And let's say, so what I'm going to put here, country, anything I can put right now, just need to see the total. So you can see this is 26415 and this is the same thing. Okay, if I change this to the whole number, so we have the answer. So I can actually now sum the values using normal sum function, using the SUMX, and using the calculator. Okay, so once again, let's make ourselves comfortable. If I go and use the sum, for example, if I use the sum says you have to give the column name. So you can't give the table name here. You have to give only the column, which is obviously followed by the, like, suppose I write this one. It has to be a number, obviously, right? So here it's going to do the aggregation. It's going to add up the values on the entire column. There's no filter here in the data. Some can't do that. Correct? Now, if I go and say calculate, I want the sum, for example. Again, you can do the same thing, that you can provide the field, first of all, which is numeric, like item shape, for example, and then after that, you have the filter, where you can say that I want only specific rows in my table on which you have to do the totaling, filtering basically. So I say that age group, or maybe item shape, let's say, for example, item shape has to be greater than 100. So what this do? Every row, it's going to use this comparison for all my 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 rows. Wherever you have the greater than 100 value in this field, it's going to pick that and it's going to add it. And it's going to give the total to you, right? So calculate is nice. Then we want to filter the data. And we have seen here we can use or as well and as well. That makes it more dynamic, right? much stronger than the normal sum, right? This is simple thing, right? If I just go and press enter right now, again, it works like a sum only. This also. I mean, if I have no criteria, I can use still this. I can use this, right? Okay. So, and then we have seen the SUMX. SUMX also does the same thing. But here, first it says, give me the table, right? Now, you see, SUMX. So if I give if I give here any table, let's say, for example, now, we can play with the table. We can use the filter also. We can use the top in also. We can use the summarize as well. Because it's all about the table. And this is what exactly was, we were looking for this thing in yesterday's class. Like, if I just say the table and I say that there's no expression, for example, you saw that I can add and I can subtract as well. Like, for example, I can say, so the revenue actually, the item shift that we have, for example, like this, what happened? The data actually that we have captured, the system has generated, it's incorrect. It has added 10 values extra to every item. So you can do this as well. So what this is going to do, because it's a row by row, from every row, 10 will be subtracted. So it means if you have 2,000 rows in your data, in this field, I'm talking about, every value, 100, 200, 300, 400, like this, you have different item shift for each of the day. It is going to subtract 10 from each of it, and then it's going to add. And this is something which makes this function unique, right, among the others. And if you don't want to do that, well, I mean, if there's no calculation still, we can just provide here the field, and field has to be obviously number, because then how it is going to add, it's always the addition. Same concept applies to complex and averages. Okay, so this is where basically the SUMX differs from the other functions. So it means that if I have to total, now I can think of 3 functions, and then I can see what exactly I want to do. Okay, now same way, like for example, if I simply show you, if I just like this is all, let's say I say that, okay, I want to total the things, but I want to total the things only for a country called, let's say, USA. So I just want to say filter, why don't you come and just, in the expression, give me the country. Then you can use here, I mean, if you have to include 2, 3 countries also, that you can do, that filter criteria. So I'm just going to say this USA. Now, this is the table which the SUMX now will use. And in that table, we will simply now revenue item shift, whatever we want, we can just go and select that. This is how it is, right? And let me just press enter. So it means that I can use this as well. I think we already have this option, SUMX using filter, get the total sale from India. Well, I just named this as, let's say, for example, USA. It's not a sales item shift, for example. Okay, since we have already calculated. I was just telling you, but question is also there. If I drag and drop this here, and if I show you 3497, this is the answer basically. And let me select this. Let's go here. And this is question number 3, SUMX. So now we have done the SUMX. So SUMX, average X, we can use this. Okay, these are called the iterators. Okay, that is a thing. So